Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So, in tonight's video, I've got something really cool in store for you guys. Something that is so cool that originally I actually wasn't going to open it, but I figured, you know what, we broke 200 subscribers this weekend, so in order to say thank you, I think I am going to crack this one open for you guys and just show you all the cool stuff in here. So usually when the desk is cleared off and there's nothing on it, and that's how the video starts, usually that's a good sign because it means I don't want to show you what I have. So we've got another Johnny Lightning box set. This is a very old one with 10 different concept Corvettes. Or not concept Corvettes, but most of them are concepts. Some of them are just very rare models and very uncommon things. We've got some concepts, like these two are concepts. That's a concept, and whatnot. So we do like our Johnny Lightning 10 packs on this channel quite a bit. This is a very special one. This one I paid a little bit for. I think a little bit more than $24.99, which is what they originally went for. And this is probably the oldest 10 pack that I opened on the channel because the Dragsters I think was from 1997, whereas this pack is from 1996. So real quick, let's take a look at everything we got in here. We've got, starting up, and I'm gonna go like this, or like this, I should say. So up top and on the left, we've got a 62 Roadster, a 65 Mako Shark, that's a concept. 67 Coupe 427. We've got the Corvette Indy, that's from 1986. The 54 Nomad, the 1980 Aerovet, if you can see that through the glare there. This box has definitely seen some better days. You're getting a nice view of my light fixtures, though. We've got the 1982 T-Top, the 1957 Roadster, the Stingray 3, I believe this is around 1995, 96, because this is the C5 concept. And then the 1995 ZR1. So, some really cool stuff. I've loved Corvettes ever since I was a little kid, so for this is a very exciting pack for me. We'll take a quick look at what's on the back here. Some really cool stuff. So we have seen some of these Indy pace cars. They have a little ad for their Indianapolis collection. We have seen the Olds 442, the Hearst Olds, and actually that's the only ones I have from there. Anyway, there's also a Dragsters USA, a little ad for the Dragsters USA, and if you look closely and read through all those names there, they might seem a little familiar. That is actually an ad for the up-and-coming 11-car pack that we did in the Dragsters video. So there's this was an advertisement that was coming out, and there's some more of the Dragsters USA on the back there. Another one, it always makes me laugh when I see this. So to subscribe, call us at 1-800-MANTIS-8, not www.playingmantis.com, you know? It's, yeah, to subscribe, call or send $14.95 check, Visa, MasterCard numbers, or money order to Johnny Lightning, P.O. Box 248. Wow. Wow, before the internet was even a thing. And something else I wanted to mention, so you can still join the Johnny Lightning Collectors Club. If you, join the club, Johnny Lightning Collector Club. I have been thinking about joining that. It's not $14.95 anymore. I actually think it's closer to like $30 a year now. But every 3 months they send you a very rare, very exclusive car, as well as like t-shirts and hats and stickers and stuff like that. So I was thinking about maybe joining that collector club, just to get my hands on some of those super rare special edition release vehicles. But without any further ado, let's crack these babies open. And one thing I do want to say, I do have a great fear right now. I'm afraid that some of these cars may have suffered the same fate as the dragsters from being in this box for so long. You can see some of them are touching the chrome packaging in there and just rattling up against it since 1996. So we may see some chrome schmutz on the passenger side of all of our Corvettes here. Fortunately, though, that stuff does seem to kind of scrub off with some spit polish and a t-shirt. So let's get these babies opened up and start looking at them. I did this last time we did a box set. I ended up unpausing the recording and everything and talking to you guys. I don't know, it's just really cool to see these, like, to unbox them in their little rows of cars here. So that's the left row. Here's the center. Whoop! I dropped a little card. Nothing on the back of the card, unfortunately. I know the dragster one had little snippets of information about each car. It'd be cool if they had this on here, but either way, that's still a really cool little legend. So that's stuck back in there. And here is our last slice of cars. And I am making quite a valiant attempt at preserving the packaging. So I do have the box still, you know, in one piece there. I am going to probably stick that in the closet with everything else. So not to worry, I do keep all the packaging and everything. If I ever want to stick them back in, I can. Alright, welcome back. Everything's out of the box. Everything is ready to go, and I think I'm going to lose it. These are so cool. These cars are absolutely awesome. So I've got everything arranged in chronological order, starting from the 50s all the way up to the 90s over here. So I think we're going to go like that with them. So let's bring the lift over and we will start talking about our first car, which is this here 1954 Corvette Nomad. So basically, Nomad is a title that GM gives to any two-door wagon. So a Chevy Nomad wagon would be like a Chevy Coupe. Let's see if I have one right here. Here's a Hot Wheels one. So this is like based off a Bel Air or a Biscayne, but this is a two-door wagon. And it's called a Nomad because it's a two-door wagon. If it wasn't a two-door wagon, if it was just a regular sedan, it would be called a Bel Air or, you know, Chevy sedan, depending on your trim level. So when they make a Corvette wagon, it becomes a Corvette Nomad, I guess, is the running logic there. So this is a 1954. This is the second year for the Corvette, the first year of the Corvette being 1953. Should have a 200-something, the exact number escapes me, as always. I believe it was a 4.2 liter in British terms, or European terms. 4.2 liter inline six under the hood of this guy until in later years they did eventually receive the 289. I want to say 289. It could have been like a 283 though. Cubic inch V8, the original Chevy small block. Really, really cool car here. This is not a production model. So the Corvette Nomad, this was never really a production. This was another concept that was kind of just dreamed up, and you know, Chevy was like, well, what if we did this? And you know, but I think mainly the whole reasoning was like, it's supposed to be a sports car, not a wagon, so they didn't really, the marketing team never really bit on this one. And I am noticing all the cars in this pack have the exact same wheels. That's kind of funny. That's mid-90s stuff for you, though. They weren't exactly as detailed as they are today. They are plastic tires, metal bases, so we do have a nice shiny base under there. 1954 Corvette Nomad. Yes. But, yeah, plastic tires. Very, very cool looking car, though. Absolutely love that. That thing looks so sharp from the front. A little bug catcher style mesh over the headlights. Really, really cool looking. I absolutely love this color too. So if we take a look at our card here, I know I don't have any fun facts for you guys, so pretty much all the stuff that I'm going to be telling you guys is off the top of my head. So there's our 54 Nomad. So if any of my fun facts seem not 100% accurate, feel 100% free to correct me in the comments, and I'll pin your comments so we make sure that we get the correct information out there. So there is our 54 Corvette Nomad, so we'll get that one into the already talked about row. And we will move on to our, what is this one? Is a 57? This looks like a 57. Yes, 1957 Corvette. So this is technically a coupe because it's a hardtop. So it gives you a bit of an idea of some of the changes that the Corvette underwent throughout the 1950s, being that this is 54 to 57. I have shown a few 1950s era Corvettes on the channel before, although nothing as early as 1954. I do believe I had like a 58 on the channel, and I did talk about the taillights up on the fenders, so the Corvette did not start getting its synonymous twin circle taillights that we know so well. That was not until the early 60s that we saw that. So another very, very cool example of a 50s model Corvette. I absolutely love this this copper with the silver stripe on the side. Very nice color contrast with that. Really nice paint on here. I think we may have gotten lucky. Nope. So there you go on the, all right, calm down, Mr. Camera. So there you can see on the fender above the tire there is some marks from the packaging. So hold on 1 second for me. So fortunately, as I said, I am able to kind of wipe that off with my t-shirt, which is quite a relief, because I'd be kind of bummed if these all were scuffed up like that permanently. Yeah, very sharp looking car. Wish we could stay focused on it. There we go. I like it a lot. So I don't want to spend, oh, this does have an opening hood. I'll get the hood open for you guys real quick. It doesn't particularly want to stay open. I'm gonna kind of wedge it there. But there is a look at what should be a 283, 289. Again, I forget what the original small block was, if it was 83 or 89 cubic inches. But there is our earlier V8, the beginning of the V8 in the Corvette. So very cool stuff. We'll get that hood closed. Now, I do want to kind of power through this one and move on to the next stuff, because I do want to spend some more time talking about some of our concept vehicles and not necessarily the more production cars. But here is a, where's my little cheat sheet? What year are you? 62. Here is a 1962 Roadster. Oh, sorry. Got my e-cigarette all out. This is a 62 Corvette Roadster, so if we take a look at the back, there is our Corvette twin taillights. Now, 62 was still considered first generation, but you can kind of start to see some of the similarities in the rear to the second generation Corvette. This is a 65, 67. 63 was the first year for the second generation Corvette. Very sharp looking car again. Not crazy about this color. It's kind of a like a leather saddle brown. That big chunky steering wheel in there. I can just about see the shifter down on the floor too. Very, very cool. Not a two-tone on this one, so you can kind of see the difference between the difference it makes having that two-tone stripe along the side there. Personally, I like when this is a different color. Makes a nice contrast. You see the turquoise and white and red and white Corvettes always look the best with that little white stripe in there. The bumper does actually connect through the grille, whereas the earlier models, the bumper, you can see below the headlights, does not cover the grille. But later years, they did begin to cover the grille. And I will get the hood open on this guy. Oh boy, our hood's popping off there. It doesn't really want to open, but there is a look underneath the hood. Not exactly the easiest one to open up. Come on, just sit on the lift for me, thank you. Yeah, very sharp looking car. It does look like we managed to miss some of the scuffs on the passenger side on this one, so this one looks like it survived pretty well, which is a relief. So we'll get that one over into this row, and we will bring over our 1965, yes, 65 Mako Shark. So this being 1965, this was still in production, this generation Corvette. The second generation, I have another good example right here. Here is our fastback 67, 65, 67. Oh boy. Come on, focus on it. There you go. I believe this was also a 65 from Johnny Lightning. So this would be a concept car for 1965. This was originally supposed to be like 1968 was the first year of the third generation Corvette. So this would be your third generation concept. There we go. That's what I was trying to get out. I couldn't put my words together right. So you can see some of the similarities with the tail there. You've got the boat tail style of the 60s Corvette, but it does have the body style of the third generation, like this guy here, or the Mako Shark. So very interesting stuff. I believe this was also equipped with a 427, same engine and drivetrain as the as your standard 1965 Corvette. Very interesting looking car. Absolutely love it. Take a quick look. There's what it looks like on the card there, the 65 Mako Shark. And there's our 62 Roadster and 57 Roadster, since we didn't look at those either. Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. So again, not a production vehicle. This was a, excuse me, a concept vehicle produced in the mid-60s for the release of the 1968 Corvette. Really interesting rear end on this thing. Back is just absolutely, whoops. We do it every time. The back of this car is absolutely fascinating to look at. So it looks like it almost has triple tail lights. If we can focus on them there. There you go. And there's my big grubby fingernails. I know. But yeah, very, very cool car. I like that one a lot. So we'll get that one parked up. Move our 65 fastback, and we will move into our 67, yet another 67 soft top. We'll get the hood open on that guy. Again, not really wanting to open up too much, but there is our 427 big block under the hood there. Nice little soft top. This is pretty similar to the last time I had a 67 427. This is another mid-90s Johnny Lightning Corvette. It's basically the same casting, honestly, just slightly different colors, obviously. But very cool stuff anyway. Being that this is a 427, so this is a soft top, so you don't have the boat back window like the hard top did, and honestly, not my favorite one, but still very cool. I do believe in the 60s these were very early, very archaic fuel injection systems, at least on the, I'm like pretty sure about that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the 427s in these were fuel injected. So 1960s era fuel injection might not have been the most advanced thing, but you know. There's our, obviously, our twin Corvette, twin circle taillights, synonymous with the Corvette. Pretty cool color on this one, kind of a dark forest green metallic with a nice silver stripe down the hood. Looks very nice. Almost looks black on camera, but I promise it is like a dark green. Bring it in a little closer, you can maybe kind of see a little better. Yeah, it still looks black on camera. So we'll get that one moved over, and we will start getting into some of this weird kooky stuff over here. Starting off with the 1980 Corvette. So what this is basically in 1976, or throughout the 1970s, I should say, Corvette was messing with mid-engine rotary designs and platforms like that. And this was their rotary engine concept. So if you know what a rotary engine is, it's basically the dumbest thing in the world, but Mazda guys worship them, think they're the greatest thing in the world. It's basically, instead of pistons, you have a giant spinning triangle, and you have to replace the seals on it every 30,000 miles, which means tearing the engine apart every 30,000 miles. It's like, imagine if you had to replace the piston rings on your engine every, you know, like, it's a cool engine design, and it's interesting in concept, and it's great for racing because it revs extremely high. It's not a lot of rotating mass, but they just are not practical for daily driver or street use. Now, with a race car that gets, you know, rebuilt on the way home from the races every weekend, that's one thing. But for a production vehicle to have a rotary engine in it, there's really going to be some maintenance challenges, and I think that's part of the reason that the RX-7 didn't last, and the rotary engine never really extremely caught on. I mean, there was some Mazda stuff that used it, and they tried to bring it back with the RX-8, and that did terribly. But I guess without bashing Mazda too much here, we'll talk about the Corvette. So this was supposed to be a 4-rotor Wankel rotary engine, but in 1976, Corvette, or Chevrolet, GM, whoever, decided to swap it out for either a 400 or a 409 cubic inch V8, because they went, well, this is just not going to work too well if we try to put this through to production. And a lot of people just weren't super into their Corvette sounding like a weed whacker. So it got a V8 in the mid-70s, and production continued, or not production, but development of this car continued all the way up until about 1981, I want to say. So this was originally supposed to be the 4th generation Corvette, or the C4, but the design was just so drastic, and production, or development was just not where GM wanted it to be with this car. So they basically scrubbed the whole design for it in 1982, like mid-1982. And that's why, if you've ever heard the story, there's no such thing as a 1983 Corvette, because there wasn't. There was no production model 1983 Corvette, because they pulled the plug on this so close to the release date. So that segues us perfectly into our next Corvette, which is this 1982 T-Top. So this was what the Corvette looked like while this was in research and development. This is a 1982 T-Top, the final year for the 3rd generation Corvette. I believe these were 350 small blocks, and being the early 80s, they weren't extremely powerful. And not exactly the glory days of the Corvette, the late 70s and early 80s, but it wasn't exactly the glory days for any sports car, really. So, you know, it is what it is. But still a very sharp looking car. This is a T-top variation, so we do have our little T-tops there. Very, very 80s. Gives you a very 80s vibe. It just looks like something from the early 80s. Of course, as always with Corvettes, I should have mentioned this. So, 1962, here's our 62, right? This is our 62 Roadster. 1962 was the last year for Corvettes to have open headlights. If we can, hello there, come on, there you go. So this was the last year for open headlights. 1963 saw the introduction of the hideaway headlights. And the hideaway headlights ran all the way through the 1960s, through the 1970s, through the 1980s, 1990s, all the way up until 2005, where the 6th generation Corvette finally did away with the hideaway headlights. Now, personally, I love hideaway headlights. I love that they flip up and down. I think it's the coolest thing. If you've ever watched, if you watch Donut Media, they have a little song that they sing every time they see a car with pop up and down headlights, and it's like the funniest thing in the world. Get super excited about that. It really is a cool concept. I mean, it's just so sharp looking, and then to have those, you know, flip open with your headlights underneath, very, very cool. Looks like this guy did escape the scrape on the side. Don't have any scuffs or damage on there, so as always, that's a relief. So let's get this guy into the row over here, and we will move on into the 1986 Corvette Indy. Now, this is a concept for, it's sort of a C5 concept, sort of not. This was more or less just GM in the 1980s kind of going like, well, look what we can do. We can do anything. We can make extremely powerful cars, and, you know, because it was what's the word, concept car, and not a production model, they were kind of able to just put whatever horsepower engine they want in there. You can, you know, kind of dip under the EPA guidelines if it's not really a production car. So this guy actually had a 5.7 liter V8 that produced 380 horsepower. And if you remember the 1980s, 380 horsepower out of a 350 cubic inch V8, even by today's standards, that's not bad. So for that to be, you know, what they were making in the 1980s, that is extremely impressive, because the 1980s were, you know, not exactly a great time for horsepower. Everything was getting turboed, everything was getting compression pulled out of it because of the emissions and stuff. And look, if you see, we do have some packaging schmutz on the fenders there and on the front fender as well. So let me see, and I'll show you just how quickly I can rectify this. Just a quick little rub down with the shirt, and it usually seems to, here we go. Yes, very good. Yeah, quick little spit, shine, and scrub with the t-shirt, and we are all good. Well, there's still a little bit left on there, but it's very hard to notice. What an absolutely ludicrous looking car. I mean, again, another mid-engine Corvette. So the Corvette was always supposed to be a mid-engine car. That was always what GM wanted to do with it. They just never really, for whatever reason, never followed through with it. Until now, we have the C8, which is finally a mid-engine vehicle. And mid-engine being that the engine block is located in front of the rear axle and behind the front axle. So behind the driver and in front of the rear axle. Rear engine is when the engine is behind the rear axle, like, say, Chevy Corvair. So this is mid-engine. Really insane little... It doesn't even have a roof. It's all just a glass cockpit. Makes it look like a fighter jet. Honestly. Absolutely crazy. But that was the 1980s. Everybody was, you know... Well... It was the 80s. Crazy stuff was happening. Unfortunately, I was not alive in the 80s, but I always wish I was. Very, very cool car. You got the single windshield wiper up there on the front. Very interesting. Very, very neat. So that is our 1986 Corvette Indy. And now we will move on to the Stingray 3. So I don't actually have a specific year for the Stingray 3, but if I had to guess, I think these were like 1995, 1996 was the Stingray 3. This is basically another concept for stretch. There we go. The 5th generation Corvette or C5. This was your concept car for that. So you can see some of the styling cues. It's very, very, very 90s-esque. It almost kind of looks like a Viper in the front end. But you do see some of the styling cues that carried over into the 5th generation Corvette, although it does not have hideaway headlights. It does have fixed sealed beam headlights, as they would be called. Much shorter trunk area as well. There's our Stingray 3 on the door there. Really, really cool car. It almost looks like something's like missing off the back, like it's missing the trunk. The front end looks so long compared to the rear. I don't think, no, we do have a little scuff on that back right fender there, you can see. So let's make that disappear. There we go, all better. So I believe, I probably should have looked this up, but I'm going, like I said, I'm going off the top of my head here. I believe these were equipped with either an early production LS1 or concept LS1 motor, or the LT1 that was currently in use by the 4th generation Corvette, the late model 4th generation Corvettes. So anywhere from 295, I want to say, to maybe low 300 horsepower range on this guy, which would be absolutely awesome for the mid-90s. Yeah, really, really interesting looking car. Very, very aggressive styling in the front end there. But, you know, it was the 90s. Everything was supposed to look like it was the future. Everybody was terrified that Y2K was going to end the world. There's a cat hair in the interior. Hold on. Sorry about that. I don't know how cat hair got in there. Probably from my cat. You can just about make out the little shifter in there and everything on the interior. Yeah, just an absolutely insane angle on that windshield. It looks absolutely bonkers. Very aggressive looking car. I remember when I was a really, really little kid, I mean, like, you know, it had to be pre-1997. I had a Matchbox of this concept, the Stingray 3. I had a Matchbox car, and it was like this bluish chrome. And I still remember that little Matchbox. I'd love to be able to find that at my parents' house somewhere. That'd be super cool. But this guy will do for now, for sure. Very, very cool stuff. So we'll get that one parked up. And into our last Corvette for today's video. Let's see. Yeah, no, that hood doesn't want to stay open. But under the hood there, I believe that is the LT4, LT5. It's an LT-V8 producing 405 horsepower, and we've got another fender with stuff on it. Hold on, let's make it disappear. There we go. Right, 405 horsepower out of this puppy, which is an absolute monstrous number. You know, the only other thing that was really making 400 horsepower at the time is, you know, boosted V8s and Vipers and stuff like that. So this is an absolutely monstrous car. Being that this is a 1995 ZR1, this is the second to last year of the 4th generation Corvette. So, and you got to think about when this when this box set was released. Excuse me. This was the current Corvette. This was the new Corvette at the time. There was no 5th generation Corvette yet. This guy just hadn't been released yet. So I think that's really, 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 really interesting and really funny to think that at the time that this Johnny Lightning box set was made, this was a brand new Corvette. Very cool stuff. We have seen this casting before on this channel. Johnny Lightning just recently released the 4th generation LT4, LT5 ZR1 Corvette as the Collector Tin series. So there's a version A and version B of a relatively recent release of this car. If we can keep it in focus here, there we go. in a pearlescent turquoise and black. Both look really sharp. So now we have one in yellow. Very, very cool. Yeah, I absolutely love that. So, super duper excited about all of these new Corvettes that I've just added to the collection. And like I said, I wasn't originally going to unbox this 10-pack. I was just actually going to keep this for myself and pin it to the wall or something. But, you know, you guys have been showing so much support for the channel, and to break 200 subscribers, it's a pretty big deal for me. I never really expected the channel to go this far. But you guys seem to really love the content so much, and I really just appreciate every single person who watches these videos and the people who leave their comments and all of it. I just want to say I really do appreciate you guys so much. It really inspires me to keep making these videos and keep buying these cool little cars and, you know, continuing on with this hobby. So, yeah, I really just want to say thank you to everyone who is who's subscribed to the channel. I think it's actually over 200 now, so all 200 plus of you, I appreciate you to no end. Thank you so much for subscribing and for checking out the channel and watching my videos. So what do you say, for tradition's sake, we stuff all 10 of these Corvettes into our parking garage and take a good long look at them under those LED lights. All right, so there is our 1962 Roadster with another cat hair. Come here. Damn cat hairs. Sorry about that. So there's our 1962 Corvette Roadster, looking very nice in its little leather saddle brown kind of color. Followed by the 57 hardtop, nice copper. The yellow 1995 ZR1, the dark metallic green 1967 427 convertible, and our nice little silver 1982 T-top Corvette. Now these are our 5 production Corvettes. If you were paying attention, we have 5 production Corvettes and 5 concept Corvettes in this pack. So there is our 5 production Corvettes. And now if you just give me a moment here, I will get the 5 concepts loaded into the parking garage. Alright, so there's our 1980 Aerovette, or 4th generation Corvette concept. The 1965 Mako Shark concept. The 1954 Corvette Nomad concept. If we can focus on it, there it is. Come on, give me a better one. I know you got a better one in you. There you go. There's a good look at it. The 1986 Corvette Indy with its big bad 350 small block under the hood, or under the rear window. Under the rear window, yeah. And our 1995 or 6, God, I forget. Oh, sorry, camera's getting knocked over here. Our 1995 or 96 Stingray 3 or 5th generation Corvette concept. So that is our 5 concept Corvettes there for you. All in all, that is 10 new cars added to the collection. And I hope you appreciate them and enjoy them as much as I do, because I absolutely love them. So make sure, like I always say, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a comment. Tell me which one was your favorite. Leave a comment. Tell me which Corvette was your favorite. And make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for me too. And I will see you guys in the next video.